You've been told to hydrate in the morning, and that's good advice. It truly is. But what if I told you that how you hydrate, what you choose to drink in that very first hour after waking, could silently be putting your brain in danger? It might sound dramatic, but every week, as a doctor who treats the aging brain, I meet people who are doing what they think is right. They reach for a cold glass of orange juice, a warm latte with a splash of vanilla, or even a diet soda because, hey, it has 0 calories. They believe they're making a smart, healthy choice, but their bodies, and more importantly, their brains, tell a different story. Here's what most people don't realize. The moment you wake up, your body enters a state of vulnerability. Your blood is thicker. Your vessels are tighter. Your heart is working harder. And the very first drink you choose either helps you or harms you. That's the truth nobody told you. Now, imagine this. You've lived 60, maybe 70 years. You've taken care of others. But in this one, small, everyday choice, your own health might be hanging in the balance. Wouldn't you want to know which drinks protect your brain and which ones quietly increase your risk of stroke? Stay with me, because what we're about to uncover could change how you start every morning from now on. Let's begin with something we rarely think about. What's really happening inside your body during the first hour after you wake up? You open your eyes, maybe you stretch, you head for the kitchen and pour yourself something to drink. But while you're thinking about your morning routine, your body is already in motion. A complex internal shift is taking place. You've just gone 6, maybe 8 hours without a sip of water. That means your blood is more concentrated, thicker, stickier. Your blood pressure begins to rise. Your blood vessels tighten. And your heart, as steady as it is, now has to work harder to push blood through narrower passages. This is not a malfunction. It's a part of your body's natural circadian rhythm. But here's where the danger lies. Your brain, an organ that depends on a steady, smooth flow of oxygen and nutrients, is suddenly at greater risk. A single weak point in a blood vessel. A small plaque that's been building silently for years. Now, under this pressure, it can crack, it can rupture, and that's when a stroke happens. Here's what most people don't realize. Mornings are the time of day when strokes and heart attacks happen most frequently. Not at night, not in the afternoon, but right there, within the first few hours of being awake. And yet, what do we often do at that exact time? We drink something sweet, something stimulating, something that further thickens our blood, narrows our vessels, or spikes our insulin. Instead of calming the storm, we throw gasoline on the fire. That's why this conversation matters. Because if you understand the why, then the what becomes much easier to change. You don't have to fear mornings, but you do need to respect them. The goal isn't to give things up. The goal is to make smarter choices, especially when your brain is most vulnerable. So, let's take a closer look at the drinks we turn to each morning. And let's find out which ones are quietly harming us, and which ones can help protect the brain you've spent a lifetime building. Let's start with a morning drink that millions of people reach for without a second thought. The sweet, creamy iced coffee. It feels like a little indulgence, doesn't it? Cold, refreshing, maybe topped with whipped cream, maybe flavored with caramel or hazelnut. It's become a symbol of modern comfort, a daily treat that feels harmless. But if you're over 60, and especially if you have high blood pressure or any signs of insulin resistance, This drink may be far more dangerous than it seems. Why? Because it delivers what I call a double hit. First, a flood of sugar. Then, a blast of caffeine. Both hit your system at the exact moment it's least equipped to handle them. Right after you wake up. Let's break that down. A typical medium iced coffee with syrup and cream can contain anywhere from 40 to 80 grams of sugar. That's the same as 10 to 20 teaspoons of pure sugar in one glass. Now imagine this sugar hitting your bloodstream after 8 hours of fasting. Your cells are starved for energy, yes, but not this kind of overload. Your pancreas kicks into high gear, trying to produce enough insulin to absorb the sugar. But here's the problem. As we age, our cells become less sensitive to insulin. That means the sugar stays in your bloodstream longer. This condition, called hyperglycemia, triggers widespread inflammation. And this inflammation, it doesn't just make you feel sluggish, it actively damages the fragile inner lining of your arteries, a layer only one cell thick. That damage becomes the foundation for plaque buildup, narrowing arteries, and eventually, the clots that cause strokes. Now let's add the second hit, caffeine. Caffeine, by itself, isn't evil. In fact, black coffee has been shown to offer some benefits. But the timing and the context matter. When you're already dehydrated and your blood vessels are tight, caffeine ramps up your fight-or-flight response. It pushes out adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones that squeeze your arteries even tighter. Your heart is now pumping harder, against more resistance. And if there's plaque sitting in your arteries, that pressure can rupture it. Let me tell you about David. David was 68, healthy weight, walked every day. No major health problems, except for one habit. Every morning, without fail, he started his day with a vanilla iced latte. He believed it gave him energy. But one morning, he collapsed on his kitchen floor. A mini-stroke, or TIA. When we checked his blood work, we found elevated inflammatory markers and clear signs of insulin resistance. The likely trigger? His sugary morning ritual. Now, am I telling you to give up coffee altogether? Not at all. But I am saying this. If you love coffee, learn to love it close to black. Instead of a sweetened latte with syrup, try a high-quality black coffee. If it's too bitter, it might not be your taste buds. It might be the beans. Choose better beans. They make all the difference. And if you need something creamy, skip the sugar and use a splash of real cream or whole milk. The fat helps slow caffeine absorption, making the effect gentler on your system. Rather than reaching for flavored syrup pumps, try a sprinkle of cinnamon or a pinch of cocoa powder. Both add flavor, and they've been linked to better blood sugar control. Because the truth is, that morning iced coffee may taste like comfort, but inside your aging arteries, it can stir up chaos. Instead of starting your day with inflammation and pressure, why not begin with calm and control? Your brain will thank you. Now, let's talk about something even more deceptive. Something that's been part of the healthy breakfast image for generations. Fruit juice, orange juice, apple juice, even grape juice. It's colorful, it's natural. It says 100% juice on the label. Surely it's good for you, right? Not exactly. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Drinking bottled fruit juice, no matter how fresh or organic it claims to be, is, from a metabolic perspective, not much better than drinking a can of soda. Let's unpack that. A whole orange is a wonderful food. It contains vitamins, yes, but more importantly, it comes with fiber. That fiber slows the absorption of sugar, protects your blood vessels, and helps keep your insulin response under control. But what happens when you juice 3 or 4 oranges? You extract the sugar, and you throw the fiber away. What you're left with is a glass of liquid fructose, one of the most problematic sugars for the aging body. Unlike glucose, which your entire body can use for fuel, fructose is mostly processed by your liver. And when your liver is hit with a sudden surge of fructose, first thing in the morning, when you're dehydrated and metabolically vulnerable, it responds by converting much of that sugar into fat, specifically triglycerides. And here's the danger. Elevated triglycerides are directly linked to a higher risk of stroke and heart disease. This process also contributes to insulin resistance and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, two silent conditions that often go undetected in older adults until it's too late. Let me share a number with you. According to a large study published in JAMA, people over the age of 45 who drank one 12-ounce glass of fruit juice per day had a 24% higher risk of early death compared to those who didn't. That's not a small margin. And this was fruit juice, not soda. So what do you do if you love juice? Here's the shift. Instead of drinking your fruit, eat it. When you peel and eat an orange, you get the same vitamins, the same natural sweetness, but you also get fiber. Your body digests it more slowly. Your blood sugar stays steady. You feel full. And you've protected your arteries in the process. Now, if you still want that bright citrus flavor in the morning, there's a way. Take 1 tablespoon of juice and mix it into a tall glass of water or sparkling water. You'll get the taste, but you'll avoid the sugar surge. It's a small change, but for your brain and heart, it's a powerful one. Because the goal here isn't deprivation, it's clarity. Instead of trusting the label on a juice carton, trust your body and give it the nourishment it was built to handle. Let's move to a drink that seems, at first glance, like a smart switch. It has 0 calories, no sugar, no fat. Surely it must be the healthier choice, right? I hear it all the time. I gave up regular soda. Now I drink diet. But what if I told you that this decision, made with the best of intentions, might be doing more harm than good? The truth is, the science on diet sodas is troubling, and it's especially concerning for older adults. Let's start with what's inside the can. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium are hundreds, sometimes thousands of times sweeter than table sugar. That intense sweetness tricks your brain. Your taste buds send a message that a huge sugar load is on the way. So your body responds by releasing insulin. But here's the catch. There's no sugar coming, no actual calories, just chemical sweetness. That mismatch between what your body expects and what it actually receives causes confusion. Over time, this confusion can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your cells stop responding properly to insulin. And insulin resistance, it's one of the key drivers of stroke, dementia, and type 2 diabetes. But that's not all. Your gut, the place where trillions of bacteria live and work to support your immune system, regulate inflammation, and protect your blood vessels, also gets affected. Emerging research shows that artificial sweeteners can disrupt your gut microbiome. They suppress the good bacteria and encourage harmful strains to grow. This imbalance, called dysbiosis, contributes to systemic inflammation, the kind that weakens arteries and increases stroke risk. Let me give you one more piece of evidence. In a large observational study of postmenopausal women, those who consumed 2 or more diet sodas per day had a 23% higher risk of stroke. This wasn't a small fringe study. It was part of the respected Women's Health Initiative, and the results have been echoed by the World Health Organization, which in 2023 warned that long-term use of artificial sweeteners may increase cardiovascular events by up to 30%. So the question becomes, why risk it? Why rely on a chemical trick when your body is asking for something simpler, gentler, something real? Here's the alternative. Instead of diet soda, try clean carbonation. Reach for sparkling water, plain seltzer, or club soda. Add a squeeze of lemon or lime, maybe a sprig of mint. You still get the fizz, the refreshment, but none of the metabolic confusion. Or better yet, make a pitcher of unsweetened iced tea, green or black. These teas contain flavonoids, natural plant compounds that protect your arteries. They hydrate, they refresh, and they actually support your brain. Because your goal isn't to trick your body, it's to nourish it. Instead of choosing sweetness with a silent cost, choose simplicity with lasting benefit. Now, let's talk about 2 categories of drinks that often wear the disguise of health. They're colorful. They promise performance. You see athletes chugging them on TV. You hear words like electrolytes, hydration, focus, and energy. So naturally, you might think, well, I'm feeling tired lately. Maybe I need one of those. But here's the problem. They weren't made for you. Let's break this down into 2 groups: energy drinks and sports drinks, because they are very different, but both carry serious risks. First, energy drinks. Let me be absolutely clear. If you're over the age of 60, there is no safe situation in which an energy drink belongs in your life. These are not just stronger coffees. They are chemical cocktails loaded with massive doses of caffeine, often far more than a cup of coffee. And they're mixed with other stimulants like guarana, taurine, and ginseng. The result? A surge of pressure through your nervous system, your heart, and your arteries. And if you have any underlying heart condition, even one you don't know about, this kind of stimulant spike can tip you into atrial fibrillation. AFib, as it's often called, is an irregular heartbeat. When your heart beats chaotically, blood pools in the upper chambers. And pooled blood? It clots. Those clots can travel straight to your brain and cause a sudden, disabling stroke. It's not a scare tactic. It's a physiological fact. And it's why I tell every patient over 60 the same thing. Never, under any circumstance, touch an energy drink. Now, what about sports drinks? They're a little trickier. These drinks were originally designed for elite athletes sweating for hours in the heat. They provide fast sugar for muscles, sodium to replace salt lost in sweat, and potassium for muscle function. But most older adults are not training for marathons. You're walking the dog, working in the garden, maybe doing light yard work. And here's the problem. Those drinks still contain high amounts of sugar and salt, things your aging body may not tolerate well. If you have high blood pressure, the sudden sodium load can spike it even higher. If you have impaired kidney function, the extra potassium can build up to dangerous levels, leading to irregular heartbeats. And the sugar? It fuels inflammation. Exactly what we're trying to reduce. So what can you do instead? Water is still the king. For 99% of your hydration needs, plain water is not just the best choice. It's the only correct choice. But if you've been sweating hard, let's say you've been mowing the lawn in the heat for an hour or more, then Yes, you might need a little electrolyte support. Here's a safer, simpler solution. Take a tall glass of water. Add a tiny pinch of sea salt. Squeeze in a generous wedge of lemon. That's it. You'll hydrate effectively. You'll replace what you've lost. And you'll do it without overdosing your body with sugar, sodium, or artificial ingredients. Because the goal here isn't to act like a 25-year-old athlete. It's to support your 60-plus-year-old body with what it truly needs. Instead of chasing energy through a can, give your body hydration and balance. That's how you stay strong, steady, and stroke-free. We've talked about 4 common drinks. We've looked at how they can silently harm your brain and heart, especially in the vulnerable hours of the morning. But now, we've come to the most important point of all. Because no matter what you drink, coffee, tea, juice, soda, there is one habit that makes every single one of them more dangerous if you skip it. It's not a product. It's not a supplement. It's not something you need to buy. It's a glass of plain water. Let me explain why this matters so much. When you wake up, your body has been in a mild state of dehydration for 6, 7, maybe even 8 hours. Your blood is more viscous. Your blood pressure is already climbing, just from the natural waking process. Your arteries are slightly constricted, and your heart is working harder, just to get the day started. This first hour, the moment when you stretch, when you move, when you reach for a drink, is the moment of peak cardiovascular stress. Now ask yourself, what happens if, at that very moment, the first thing you pour into your system is a sugary latte, or a glass of juice, or even just plain coffee, without first hydrating? You're pouring fuel on a fire. You're adding caffeine or sugar or sodium to a body that's already under pressure. But if you start with water, just water, you hit a reset button. Here's what that glass of water does for you. It thins your blood. It makes it easier for your heart to pump and for your vessels to carry oxygen to your brain. It reduces clot risk. By improving flow and volume, it lowers the chance of tiny clots forming and traveling. It activates your kidneys and digestion, so that whatever you consume next, whether food or coffee, your body is ready to handle it. It sounds simple, but don't underestimate the power of that simplicity. In fact, not drinking water first can triple your stroke risk, because it amplifies all the other dangers we've talked about today. The sugar hits harder. The caffeine is more jarring. The sodium is more destabilizing. But if you give your body that first dose of pure hydration, everything else that comes after becomes easier to manage. You give your heart a break. You give your brain protection. You give your body time to prepare. So here's my prescription. Not a pill, but a habit. Every night before bed, place a full glass of water on your nightstand. When you wake up, before you check your phone, before you go to the bathroom, before you speak to your spouse, sit up and drink it. Make that your first act of the day. Treat it with the same seriousness as you would your medication, because in that first hour, it is medicine. Instead of reaching straight for flavor or energy, start your day with foundation. Start with stability. Start with water. That one habit may be the single most powerful health decision you make all day. So now you know. You've seen the truth behind 5 drinks that many people, especially those over 60, consume without question. Drinks that feel familiar, friendly, even healthy. But when we look beneath the surface, when we understand the why behind the body's response, everything changes. Sugary iced coffee isn't just a treat. It's an inflammatory storm. Fruit juice isn't just natural. It's concentrated sugar without its protective fiber. Diet soda doesn't just remove calories. It confuses your metabolism and inflames your gut. Energy and sports drinks? They weren't made for your heart. And worst of all, skipping water makes every one of these options more dangerous. But this conversation isn't about fear. It's about clarity. It's about ownership. Because when you understand your body, when you understand how fragile and powerful your mornings truly are, you gain back control. And that's what I want for you. Instead of being swept along by habits built years ago, you can pause, rethink, and start fresh. Start with one simple act. Drink a full glass of water before anything else. Then, choose your coffee wisely. Eat your fruit instead of drinking it. Leave the soda on the shelf. And save the sports drinks for the athletes they were designed for. Because this isn't about restriction. It's about protection. You've lived decades. You've cared for others. Now, it's time to give that same care to yourself. You deserve a brain that stays sharp, a heart that beats strong, and mornings that begin with peace, not pressure. If even one part of today's message brought you clarity, if you found yourself saying, "I didn't know that," or "that makes sense," then please, do two small things that help others discover this too. First, give this video a like. It tells the algorithm that this message matters. It helps someone else, maybe your neighbor, your sibling, or your lifelong friend. Find this conversation too. Second, subscribe to this channel. Because this isn't just content, it's a community. A place where we dig deeper, ask better questions, and choose health with intention. So tomorrow morning, before your coffee, before your breakfast, take that first powerful step. Lift that glass of water and begin your day with protection. You now have the knowledge. You now have the power. And I promise you, you've got this.